the biggest thing that stops people from getting involved in anything is they think they have to have a mentor. They think they have to take these courses or they have to go to college. You should have seen the first time I walked into Lowe's, the GC license, Conor McGregor walking around the aisle.
I made the newbie mistake. I didn't get a lender. I didn't use other people's money. I put a lot of my own money from my other businesses and I poured in there. I'm like, dude, I need my money back.
Go to school, get a job, retire, get married. Like it was so much like if someone told me I had to do something, it was like I had to do the opposite, which is in my brain, like wired like that. I learned the hard way. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a course. I just winged it. I always just told myself, if this doesn't work.
Welcome to another episode of season 2 of Love Cashflow. Today, I have none other than Hunter Church with us. I literally just met him a couple minutes ago, which is what I love about these types of podcasts because the questions that I'll be asking are genuine questions that I have. We met maybe a week ago on Instagram. I just slid on that DM and hit him up on it. So welcome, brother. Welcome to the podcast,
It's good to be here. Wow, it felt great.
Yeah.
Felt like a nice intro.
Yeah, no problem, man. I wish I had more to brag about with you. Normally, I'll do like the deep dive sessions and be able to like, hey, this is what he's done and accomplished. But I will say you have about 66, at the time of this recording, 66,000 followers on Instagram. Yep. You're a local here, developer, contractor, right?
Yep.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself, like so that I can get to know you a little better, and then the people that are watching or listening also.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Honestly, like the past month really has been kind of crazy for me. I literally was just a builder, building houses out in Concord, Kannapolis, kind of the Charlotte surrounding area.
Nice.
And just literally posted couple videos, showing people what I do, just being goofy, making like a cost breakdown.
Yeah.
And within literally like a couple videos popped, a couple million views each. And
wow.
Literally like the overnight thing. It's like literally I went from 3,000 followers to, like I said, I think today is like 60 something thousand.
Wow.
Pretty quickly. So kind of been crazy. Lots of DMs.
I think what happened there is that people love just the breakdown of costs. Like that's probably what attracted me to, there's this other guy out of Texas. His name is Case, I think his name is.
Yep.
You seen him?
Yo, that's originally... So kind of like a backstory with me is I kind of always felt like it was like cool to be like the secret millionaire kind of guy that just kind of pulls up in the nice car, gets out with a girl, like the James Bond kind of stuff.
Right.
So I've always just been super low key. I don't post the things I have. It's not who I am. But I saw, again, probably similar to everyone in the real estate game, probably was getting sent Case's stuff when he started posting the breakdowns. They're like, is this real? Like, is this true? And I saw it originally. I was like, he's pretty spot on.
They were sending it to you to confirm if it was true.
I was getting from everyone. I was getting sent probably, when you first posted it. Yeah. When you first posted it, I probably got it 10, 15, not even just via social media. They were like texting me the links and stuff. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I was like, his numbers, some things are a little higher or lower, based on obviously he's in Texas versus Charlotte. But I was like, it's pretty close. And then I was like, wait a second. Again, no knocking him. I've never met him. Seems like a great guy. But I was going through his comments and stuff. It's like he doesn't respond to people, or he's not like giving people more details. And I'm like, let the people know something. So then I was like, wait a second, I could do the same thing. I was like, I'll just do the same breakdown what I'm doing here locally.
Right.
And again, the biggest thing for me is if you go in my social media is like I try to respond to everybody I can. Yeah. And even like the haters do some crazy stuff. I'll respond something crazy, like super nice. But that's just who I am. But I think. Like to your point, the breakdown, people don't really understand what stuff costs and kind of drops the veil a little bit. So it's been kind of cool, good and bad. But
one of the things that attracted me to your social media not only is that you respond to people and all of that, but I'm also in the quest of trying to get into the building game as well because I'm in Airbnb, right? So I have 18 Airbnbs right now here in Charlotte, most of them in South Park area.
Okay.
Most of them are studios, one
bedroom.
So
like single family or condos?
I have the largest one is a 3-bedroom townhome.
Okay.
I just finished right now my very first flip. It just got listed like 3 days ago.
Oh, sick.
So hopefully it sells fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully by the time this podcast is out, it's already sold. But if not, 4121 Atmore Street.
I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
Go ahead and buy that. But yeah, man. So I was genuinely curious because I was even trying to reach out to Case because he had some sort of like course or something like that. And I found it weird because I've DM'd him and I commented a couple of times to, no knock on him, but hey, if you are watching this, respond. There's probably some people trying to buy your course, right? Have you ever thought about putting together some sort of education piece?
It's been crazy. So I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring it up at some point. It's like throughout this process, I think, I'm not going to lie, when I first posted that video, again, because of all the stuff he's done and other people, I've seen the cost breakdowns kind of going viral with other videos.
Yeah.
So I kind of put my spin on it, just popping up from, HVAC units, being kind of goofy with it. But I knew it was going to do some type of numbers, and I thought I was going to get more, not like hate, but more, I don't know, comments,
negative feedback,
more like, oh, you sold it for $100,000 more, like you're ripping people off type of situation.
Right.
But genuinely, it was the most comments I get are they're like inspired by what I'm doing, which to me is crazy because I was just being goofy. Like I wasn't giving any, I wasn't trying to motivate people to get up and do it.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, oh, you push me. This is motivating me. Like keep putting out content. Or then the second one obviously is, hey, I'm looking to get into real estate. Do you offer a course? Do you offer a mentorship?
Mm-hmm.
How does someone get started? And me, again, personally, kind of going back a little bit, I hated social media before I started doing this stuff because, again, to me, it was a lot of the gurus, a lot of the people that were faking it, that weren't really talking about it.
Right.
Because, again, you being in the Airbnb space, if you saw anyone talking about Airbnb, you would know within 2 seconds
if there were
he has no idea what they're talking about.
Right.
And for me, that's how it was with a lot of these real estate experts that you see on social media. It's like, I can tell in 2 seconds you don't actually build or you don't know what you're talking about just from listening to you. And then I go to your page. Oh, of course you have a course for $19.99 a month or whatever it is, right?
Right.
So me personally, I never wanted to do that because I never wanted to push a product. I mean, again, I'm blessed to be able to this is what I do. I build and this is how I make my money. I don't want to make my money doing the courses and pushing that. That's just not who I am.
Yeah.
But then when I started getting more and more and more, these people that genuinely wanted help and wanted to get started, but there was nowhere to turn. So it's one of those, at first I would say, no, I don't want to do a course. It's not what I want to do. But now I continue to get more stuff. It's like, well, maybe I should because it actually would help people. And again, I'm not looking for money. I'll put it out there and give it away because me coming up as a developer and a builder, I said, I'm 29 now. I had no course. I never took a course. I never went to these meetups they have in Charlotte or anywhere. Everything I learned was off YouTube. So I really enjoyed the Fixer Upper HGTV shows. It's kind of what got me into it. But no one from my family comes from a construction background. Really? Nothing. It was.
So you're the first generation
builder. I come from a family where it was very, go to school, get a job.
Traditional.
Very traditional. And I remember, I did that. I went to school and I was in school. I had a full-time job working at a bank. I think I was making like $45,000 a year. And that was my first, big boy job. And, I bought a house, my first ever house. Again, I was doing everything the correct way, how my parents or the world kind of tells us we should do it.
Right.
And very quickly, I'm walking in like the first week and I'm like, wait a minute. My nice shirt, my nice pants. And, I'm like, oh, I'm going to climb this corporate ladder and make some real money. And then I'm looking around. I'm like, wait a second, my teammate, the guy sitting next to me that's doing the same exact job is 50 years old, overweight, and he's looking forward to retirement. Like that, that's not what I want.
Right.
You go on social media, you see people younger traveling and living this lavish, lifestyle. And it's like, well, wait a second, why can't I have that too? So for me, I didn't really know what that looked like. I didn't know what my passion necessarily was. I played sports my whole life, but then once baseball ended for me, in the college, it's like, well, now what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So again, to this whole point, I bought a house. I can barely afford it, but now I'm spending my weekends, trying to fix it up because the house was, like I said, I was making $45,000 a year. The house was not something great. It was a fixer-upper for sure. So again, I couldn't afford to pay people, and I didn't know anyone who could do, handyman work. So I literally YouTube it. I learned everything I know from YouTube. So this week, I got nasty carpet that came in this house. I don't know how to put new carpet or new flooring down. So it's YouTubing how to put down LVP or how to put down pergola, whatever it is.
Yeah. You've always been handy though? Like you've always liked to be handy or?
I'd say I've always been creative. I think growing up, like I loved like the arts, if you will, like theater or putting together like model cars, Legos, all that stuff growing up. So like it's kind of always been stuff I've enjoyed doing.
Right.
And but like I said, I think the biggest factor for me was I didn't have money. I didn't have money to pay people. It wasn't a matter of, I need to put a tile shower up.
Yeah.
Well, who's doing it? Because I can't pay anybody, so I have to learn how to do it.
Right.
So again, YouTube and how to tile, and then I learned how to tile. So I think the biggest thing that stops people from getting involved in anything is they think they have to have a mentor. They think they have to take these courses or they have to go to college. Like I have 0 degrees of any kind, other than now I've got a real estate license, obviously, and a GC license. But other than that, there's nothing.
Right.
And I think that stops people because we're taught you have to have all these things to get started.
For sure.
And that's what stops people.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, man, you said a lot, but to your point, to that last point, getting a mentor, buying a course, all it really does is all you're buying is really time, is what I tell my students. We have now over 300 students in my coaching program. And I started just like you, where I felt like I didn't want to be another guru, another person that's just trying to sell something online. But like with what you're experiencing, people would see what I was doing and they were genuinely curious and wanted kind of me to help them and guide them get started in that process. And then I realized with time, I'm like, dude, if I don't do something, then I'm just doing a disservice to everybody. I love to serve. I love to help people. I love to help people get out of the situations that I was in, right? Like for you, you probably resonate with this as you were at the bank, you were working the 9 to 5, you were contemplating on whether or not you should climb that corporate ladder. And then there's a bunch of people that are in that same position right now, but they don't know what vehicle to take to get them out of that, right? So it's almost like for us that have this is like, it's almost a responsibility to a certain degree for us to put something out and then also kind of negate and put something out that takes away the business from those that are just trying to put out education pieces just to sell product versus actually doing the thing, right? So I completely, relate with what you're saying because I was in that very same position.
I think the biggest thing, like you just said too, is like the responsibility, if you will. I think looking back, again, there's like seasons of life. I'm 29. I think about how my mindset was, but it's like before I genuinely didn't care what anyone thought about what I was doing because again, coming up through this journey I've been on, quitting my 9 to 5 job and jumping into construction with no background, no support, any of that.
Yeah.
I didn't care because I was going to do it regardless. If I failed, it was on me. Yep. I can always go back to the bank, get a job. That'll always be there. But then I got to a point where, again, I think it's funny. I talk to people like when I go to the gym, right? I don't listen to music. I listen to podcasts or I listen to speakers, people that are successful to see. Because again, successful people leave clues, hint. There is a blueprint, if you will.
Right.
So again, that's what I listen to. So a lot of things I say, I don't want people to think like I'm trying to be some guru. It's something I've heard, and then I'm kind of spitting it out. Yeah, exactly. But to your point, where you said like, once you have a responsibility, for me,
if you've been wanting to start an Airbnb business but don't know how or where to start, I've made a brand new mini course condensing our most recent 6-hour-long workshop into a jam-packed starter course. In this 7-day starter course, you'll learn the problems and mistakes I see rookies make when starting their Airbnb business, my 3 pillars of success, namely how to scout and pitch landlords to let you rent their properties to then list them on Airbnb, instead of having to spend thousands of dollars on getting started by buying a property. My Airbnb price strategy overview, which like me can help you make over $1 million on Airbnb alone. My automation process, which will give you the time freedom and allow you to work on your business instead of in your business. I'll guide you step by step through setting up your very own Airbnb account and mock listing to have ready for your first property. And lastly, I'll show you how to add the same guest message templates I've refined over the years for both quick replies and scheduled messages to effectively communicate with guests. And on top of all of the jam-packed education, I'm also throwing in my Pro Host Profit Calculator, access to Airbnb's earnings potential tool, my house rules templates, my Amazon shopping list, my Pro Host budgeting tool, and more. This education derives from 3 years of running a profitable Airbnb business, automating it to where it runs itself. If applied, these can help you instantly get partnerships with landlords and turn a passion for real estate investing into an extra income or even a full-time business. Students who have taken this starter course have claimed that they've learned more in these 3 hours of content than they did scavenging for answers in the internet. But no, we're not going to charge you thousands of dollars like others would. You can join today for just $27. So click the link below to sign up and get instant access to everything, apply what you learned, and get immediate step-by-step guidance and your mock listing set up or your money back. I'll see you there.
I genuinely didn't care what people thought about what I was doing. That's why I didn't care about social media. I wasn't trying to flex on anyone because I actually had it. I had the houses, I have the cars, but you're not ever going to see that because it's not who I am.
Right.
But I got to a point where I started posting more content stuff because exactly the way you said, I felt now I'm at a point where that is kind of like my calling in terms of like I need to show people what I do. I want to be the best at what I do, but I also want to show people like there is another way.
Yeah.
There are tons of people from DMs and everything that are still kind of trapped in that. They don't know what to do or they don't have anyone to look at. And again, when people are sending me messages saying, oh, like what you're doing is motivating, then it hit me as like, wait a second, I was there. Yeah, it's showing that there is a younger guy, a single guy that's out there locally in Charlotte, North Carolina that's doing this and being successful. And maybe that is something I need to look more into.
For sure, man. And at the end of the day, when it comes to like what you're thinking about right now, it's something that I kind of went through 4 or 5 years ago when I started my course and then eventually into a coaching program and all of that. And I'll leave you with this part because you'll want to, think about this and kind of give you a little bit of a different perspective that maybe you're not really even processing when it comes to like pricing, right? Because that's a big thing is like, I don't even want to make money off of education because I don't want to be that guy that feeds off of. But the reality is that unless you price it at a decent price, people who consume the content won't take it serious.
Right. Yep.
You don't pay attention to what you don't pay into.
Yep.
So for us, we've done different, high ticket models and subscription. Right now we have like a subscription model and all these things, but each different, depending on the amount of money that they pay, is the level of quality that you'll have. And then people that are genuinely wanting the thing that you're teaching or doing or whatever, that's how much more attention they're going to pay. If you give it out for free, a very small fraction of people will actually do something with it. Hence, YouTube, it's 100% free. Yep. You learned everything for free. You had the mindset, the dedication, and the want to get something done and learn from it and actually implement it that has gotten you here, but not everybody has the same mindset. Most people suffer from analysis paralysis, that they feel that they need to figure out everything before they take the very first step. Unlike you figured out how to put the carpet, and then next thing is how do I add this to this house and this, and then eventually you do. But not everybody or most people don't have the discipline to do that.
Yeah,
I even got forced into coaching versus just courses because everybody who bought our course, maybe a 10%. Of them actually did the work that's in the course because most people wanted the handheld guidance.
Show me what you did.
Show me the next 3 steps that I need to take. And then when I'm done with those 3, show me the next 3 steps and hold me accountable and this and that and all of that. So, I mean, we could talk about like the education space as a whole, but and you do want to get paid for it. I'll tell you why. The reason is because you want to show up and feel like it's worthwhile for you to be there. Your time is becoming more and more valuable. If you're not getting compensated for your time, which is technically what people are going to be paying, whether it's your time for you putting out this course because it's going to take time for you to, do that. Yeah. You can donate or you can, give back to the community and maybe put together a small course for that has a couple of videos. But your actual secret sauce, the actual processes, the things that you've actually invested time, money, effort, put your risk on the line, you have to charge for it because otherwise it's not going to be worth it. You're not going to bring your best self to whoever consumes your content. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to what you're saying too is I think that's my biggest issue with a lot of these like meetups, Charlotte real estate meetups. I understand networking, it's a powerful tool, 100%.
Yeah.
But I've been to like 2 and they're like every week they have different meetups and I get invites and people ask me to talk and stuff. And I think for me, exactly what you're saying, my biggest issue with it is when I see these people posting and I see the same faces there that are every single week they're there, but they're not actually involved and invested in doing these things. Mm-hmm. I get upset with that. Like it bothers me. Yeah. I'm sort of like, what are y'all doing? Like, let's go. Like there's deals. Let's do something.
Yeah.
But again, I know what you're saying. That there's a lot of people out there that they want to, but maybe there's something holding them back, or they need someone that's just there to push them, or again, pay into a course. And now they are accountable because they've paid this money. So yeah.
And there's going to be different levels for everybody, right? Yep. Like for instance, I have a starter course that's $27. Somebody might buy that and that's it.
Yep.
Then I have a membership that's like $97 a month. And then I have coaching program that's like $5,000 a month for the year. There's different tiers, and depending on your demographic, depending on what you're teaching, somebody will fall somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But the key of the common denominator there though is that whether you like it or not, eventually if you like to help people genuinely, you're going to end up putting some like education stuff out there. And then, the goal is that you do it different. That's from like you, Hunter, and everybody else is going to fall where they may. Because that's another thing. There's a bunch of Airbnb coaches. There's a bunch of people that are doing what you're teaching, right? But the person is going to pick you because maybe they resonate with you for some reason. It could be because you're local and somebody locally like me will buy it because
it's Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte. It's Charlotte-based. Okay, the numbers are going to be the same. The market is going to be somewhat similar, whatever. But it could be somebody who's buying from, freaking California, but they just like your style, right? You also gym bro, like you go to you work out or whatever it might be. The demographics, everybody's going to resonate with that. But the fact that you're constantly getting people asking you, how do you do it? How do you get started? That's the perfect, telltale sign to do something, right? That could be right now. It could just be starting an email list because you don't really have anything, but eventually build something out for that, right? Now, let me ask you, how did it go with your first, I guess, flip or your first development? I would say your first development, your first build.
So kind of back to me, I've mentioned I don't come from any type of money or financial support backing me. My first flip ever, again, I look back and I would say this. My first flip was my personal house. I bought my personal house. I was 21. I mentioned again, I did all the work myself. I got to a point at the time I had a girlfriend and a dog. The girlfriend didn't work out, so now it's me and a dog in this house. I can barely afford the payment there.
Yeah.
And again, I think everything happens for a reason. My neighbor at the time was selling her house. She's like, "Oh, you need to go, see my friend Hunter's house next door. Like, he fixed it all up. It looks like right out of a TV show. Like, you need to go look at it." So anyway, the lady comes knock on the door. She's like, "Oh, I talked to so-and-so. They said I should see your house." And I was like, "Yeah, come on in." So again, I'm showing them all the work I've done. And again, they're like, the girl's like, faces like, "This is insane. Like, you did all of this. You probably have one of the nicest houses in the neighborhood now. Have you ever thought about selling?" As a realtor, she's trying to push herself, give me her card to sell it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, why would I not sell it? Like, I can barely afford it. It's me and a dog. I don't need this big house. It's like 1,800 square feet.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Just a single guy. Like I said, I was 21. I didn't need this.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to prove to my parents, the world, everyone around me, like, oh, I'm successful. I'm working and I have a house.
Yeah, yeah.
Once it switched in my mind, so I was like, no, I don't need this. Forget this. I'll sell the house. I didn't know what it was even worth. So I was like, well, yeah, what do you think I could sell it for? She spat a number out, and my eyes like kind of blew up. My wait, you're telling me I could sell this, even though I just bought it, less than a year ago. You think I could, make X amount of dollars from it? She's like, yeah, let's put it on the market and see what we get. So literally, this all happened within like a week. We had the pictures in. She came, took pictures, posted on the market, went under contract in like 24 hours.
Really?
And again, did the process or whatever. And again, you can call it God, a sign, whatever you believe in, right?
Yeah.
I made literally almost to the dollar what my salary was working at the bank and selling this house, to the dollar.
Wow.
And so in my head, that's a sign. That's a switch. So I said, I'm going to do it again. So again, I couldn't still afford it. I had bills. I had all this stuff. So I moved back home. I took the money that I made from that house and I bought my first real, investment flip house, which was actually a trailer. Because I didn't know. It was it wasn't a trailer. It was a
mobile home,
like a modular home.
But
it was built on. It literally had the wheels still on it, so it was considered a trailer. But again, I didn't know what I was doing. I just bought one house, but it was a real house. This one is considered a modular, and I'm going in there. I'm starting to knock down walls and stuff. I'm like, wait, why is this metal on the walls, or what's up with the weird stuff? And then again, come to find out, I call that same realtor. I'm like, hey, well, it's a modular home. So technically, like, I had all this crazy stuff. I said, you tell me I just bought a trailer, I'm gonna try to. I'm screwed. What am I gonna do? But yeah, so anyway, my first ever one was that. It's again, didn't pay anyone. I took the money that I had made for the down payment. I was working on it, doing it all myself. It took me probably 6-7 months. It was me and friends on the weekends and late nights,
really
knocking it out. And again, same thing.
It never occurred to you to hire people at that point? No,
because I at that point, again, I was keeping my little checks I was getting from the bank.
Yeah.
But I was using that money to buy materials. I didn't have any type of funding. Right. I had no hard money loans. I had no. Right. I bought the house, and again,
you're funding it yourself.
The government isn't watching because legally, it was my personal home legally. But I used a traditional mortgage to buy my first flip. Which again, you talk to anyone that does, you're like, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah.
So, I learned the hard way, if you will. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a course. I just winged it, and I always just told myself, if this doesn't work, I can always go back to the bank. There will always be a bank job. There will always be that.
Yeah.
But now's the time. Again, I'm single. I just made this money. There's something pushing me that this is what I need to go. This is the route I need to go.
Yeah.
It started with that one house, and then I just kept doing one by one.
What ended up happening with that one, I guess, modular home?
Yeah. So again,
you fixed it?
Fixed it all up, sold it. And again, it wasn't anything crazy, but I think on the modular, I probably made, again, around 35, 40 grand, which again, on a flip, a couple of years ago, I'd say average in the area.
Yeah.
So again, I just told you I've been making 35 to 45,000 a year.
A year.
I'm rolling in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the biggest thing when we get to flippers is I think people make the mistake is when they make any business, any sort of money, and they immediately go spend it.
Yep.
They go buy the cars, the jewelry, the vacations, the trip, whatever. Yep. And now you're back. You're constantly flipping. Or I see it a lot with wholesalers. They'll make their wholesale checks and they're constantly wholesaling. They never bump up to the next level because they just keep spending the money. You have to reinvest that and just keep rocking with it.
Right. No, 100%. That's great. And then so now, how did you get into, I guess, the building? Because now you fully
I won't touch a flip. It's got.
You won't touch a flip anymore.
I walk in now and I'm like, oh god,
really?
I just want to knock it down.
That's crazy. Why did you get to that?
Yeah, once you too, because like I said, you're done this flip. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what TV shows you watch, what mentor guru you talk to. There are so many variables in a flip that you cannot control. Period.
Right.
So I've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
Oh, it's been 10 years?
Yeah, my first one was 21, and I'll be
31,
30 this year. So
yeah, that's
8, 9
crazy.
years. But there's so many variables in flips you cannot control.
Unknown.
Yeah, soon as it's like the whole joke, soon as you tear the wall down. That's actually true. As soon as I tear this wall down,
dude,
termites, electric.
See, a real life scenario with this first flip. We were moving, the washer and dryer was in the kitchen. I'm like, okay.
That's old houses. Yeah.
Yeah, all these old houses. I'm like, okay, no, we need to put this in the closet. So we converted one of the linen closets and we were going to put the washer and dryer in the closet. So we broke down a little wall. And then next thing you know, the contractor sent me a picture of a hidden freaking old chimney that was there. Brick that went all the way to the top, but didn't penetrate the roof. Like, it was still in the attic. It was in the attic. And then he was like, look, it actually moves. Yep. So I'm like, no way. And I'm in like playing golf somewhere. I think I was in Vegas. And then another $1,000, $1,500 just to knock that thing down. So I completely relate with what you're saying. Okay, so what else would you say? So now you're saying I wouldn't even do any more flips. I'm just building from the ground up because it's more controlled, more like what's the, I guess the pros and cons?
Everything. So I think a big thing too is like when I talk to people who want to get started in real estate or really new construction, because a lot of times, I mean, there is more money in new construction, obviously. Well, I tell people, one, for me, again, I love it, but we can get into kind of the passion behind it. But for me, is like, what does it look like? What does your day-to-day look like? What do you want it to look like as a real estate investor? Do you want to be a developer in the true sense of the word of you just want to pay people? That's a developer, right? You kind of... Oh,
you're fine. With that. Yeah.
A true developer is you develop the land, right? So you hire the subcontractors, you hire the GC. That's a developer.
Yeah.
For me, yes, I am a developer, but I'm also the builder. So like I am the GC. So all the subs run through me. All of the the subcontractors for plumbing, HVAC, everything is under me.
Right.
And then I'm also the one paying for it. Then I'm also the one selling it because I'm the realtor at the end.
Yeah. So you cut the middleman.
There is no middleman. It's me.
The margins.
Any money to be made in the process of is coming to me.
Yeah.
So,
but you enjoy that.
But
right,
yeah, to me, but I think it probably is a control issue too. It's like I feel like I gotta be in control of it. Yeah. And to that point, again, there was a time where I wasn't a general contractor and I was just paying a builder to build these houses for me.
Okay.
And I had no control over timeline. I had no control over, well, where's the plumber at? Well, I don't even know who the plumber is. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just
you're relying on them.
Right, the developer on the outside paying people.
They have leverage over you at that point.
Yeah, and then the biggest thing for me, and again, if everyone goes to my social media, you'll see the stuff I build is totally different than what a spec home, first-time home is, because that's definitely my market, is a first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
I learned pretty quickly in the Charlotte-based area, there was a hole, basically, where so many people are getting pushed out of Charlotte right now because of the prices.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen a decent, new construction house under $400,000 probably,
right.
I'd say.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that can't afford that, so they're having to get pushed out. So again, where I'm at, Concord, Kannapolis is where, Cabarrus County is where I grew up. Mm-hmm. All the houses that these builders were building were just these ugly looking, literally the same exact floor plan that 4 or 5 builders that were, these old guys are building every single corner.
Yeah.
What the heck? Like, this is ugly. Yeah. Why is there no one doing cool houses?
Yeah.
So again, I went to that builder at the time because I was paying him to build these houses. And I found these cool plans, like modern, cool architecture. I'm like, hey, I want to build this. And every time the feedback I get was, oh, we don't build like that around here. Then the Southern accent. Really? Or the that'll never sell in this town.
Really?
I'm saying to myself, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, you're a builder. Like, that's so cool. You could build anything, any plan, any house.
So you're getting pushback from these.
Oh, always. And you're choosing to build the same ugly little house, but it's because it sells. And it's about the money.
Yeah.
You can get in and out of these things, and it sells regardless because the price.
Yeah.
It's a first time home.
And they already have a system, right? Like, they already same plan, same
I know, yeah. They
lumber
know
package
how many drywall,
or whatever it's called.
They know how many sheets of drywall, everything.
Everything.
I mean, I got to the point too, but again, I just got to the point where, again, kind of like steps have led me throughout my life, and I was just getting pushed, and I was like, no, like maybe you should become your own GC, maybe you should build your own houses, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of kept pushing me. Was I kept getting pushback from people saying, no, like modern won't sell out here. We're in the country, like modern won't sell out here. So, all right, watch this. So again, got the stuff for my GC test, studied the test.
How hard was that?
And that's another thing I get too. I'm not a school person. I hate school.
Yeah.
I don't have a college degree. I dropped out because it wasn't for me.
Right. Same.
It wasn't for me.
And for most like true bred entrepreneurs,
oh yeah, nothing.
Like, yeah,
they say they hire people with degrees, right?
Yeah,
but, they say North Carolina is one of the hardest ones to get. However, it's open book, so I don't know why people say that. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's hard. You have to study.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose, and it's very similar to the real estate exam, but the GC test it's a test to make sure you know how to take a test, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or that you can go, that you know how to reference when you
That's
need
all it is.
An answer. You know where to go to go find it.
So if you're on the job site and some question pops up with framing, you know what book to go to and what section to go to and say, okay, wait, here's the answer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So again, as long as I took a course at the local community college, kind of like a prep course, It was self-taught. So you go through and they gave me tabs, framing, nails, stone, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I took the test, passed the first time. Now I got a GC license.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, you should have seen the first time I walked into Lowe's with a GC license. You're, like Conor McGregor walking around the aisle.
Conor McGregor. That's literally, yeah.
But yes, they messed around and gave me that. Because as soon as I got my GC license, I said, watch this, y'all. You about to see this. Shirt. So I'm taking over. So now, again, when you drive through Cabarrus County, in 2 seconds, Hunter built that house. There's no one building anything like it.
Got it.
Not even close.
So how many houses have you built to date now?
Probably going on close to 50.
Wow.
So, and again, the social media thing's all new to me. So if you looked at my social media, like, oh, he's built 3 houses, right? Because that's all I've been posting.
You can't tell, yeah.
But you drive through it. Seriously, you can drive through any street in the town. You'll say, oh, Hunter built that.
Yeah.
Because it's slanted roofs. It's modern. They're black. It's whatever.
Gray tones and all
everything. Yeah, it's all modern, style that I've gone to Charlotte and I've seen, what these $4 million houses look like.
Taking inspiration from those and brought them.
And bringing them here and doing it on a smaller scale.
Love it.
And I have no competition because these old builders are still doing the same old house and they are still selling.
Yeah.
But now you're competing with me and now you're in trouble. Because if you got your house coming to the market the same day as mine.
Are the price ranges still similar?
Yep. So everything I build, again, is a first-time home buyer kind of, that's my niche.
Yeah.
So I'd say everything's between.
What makes that your niche? Like the price range? The price?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm still an investor. I still do this to make money. Yes, my passion is doing this, but I'm still trying to make money. So for me, that first-time home buyer is a spot in the market that there will always be a need for, right?
Right.
I say it like through COVID and recession-proof, whatever's going on in the market. Like right now, there was a point where we're at 8% interest rates. My houses were still selling before I could get them done.
Wow.
Because of one, the product, but two, the price point.
Yeah.
Anyone, most families that work that have 2 incomes coming in can afford that first-time home of around $300,000 to $350,000.
Yeah.
So
that's where you're pricing it at. So how much does it take to build?
Right now, about 110 to 115 a square foot.
Really?
So, again, I tell people all the time, your land is always going to be a variable.
Right, depending on where you're at.
Yep, the land is going to be a variable, and again, some septic stuff. But other than that, again, I'm getting in and out of these houses about $150,000 to build. So add your land costs, just say another 50. Yeah. So around 200 all in.
Okay.
And you're selling 300, 350.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So,
and how long does it take to build?
3 months.
3 months.
In and out. They're not huge. Like I said, these houses are 1,200 to 1,500 square feet, and usually I don't do a garage just because as a builder, doesn't help me.
Right.
My houses still sell regardless, and it's just kind of a waste of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
From a building perspective.
Got it.
I can't really add much more
square
to
footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just more concrete.
Exactly. More cost to me, but I can't raise the price of the house too much more.
Right.
So, again, I found that niche. So
yeah. No, I love that, dude. And then when it comes to keeping them, do you keep any?
Yeah. So I've got right now, I've got one rental that I kept, and again for tax reasons. Yeah. He said, "Hey, you need it." So I've got one rental, and then I told you about this. I have always wanted to do some type of tiny home or kind of unique stay in Charlotte. Yeah. So I built an Airbnb.
Nice.
It's like 10 minutes to the airport, 10 minutes uptown. I mean, the location is amazing.
There we go.
So I built that. Literally, it's finishing up. I got pictures going today, and then hopefully get it listed. I got to make some cool content to kind of get people in there.
Get some hype around it.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely want to talk to you and figure out stuff for that on that. But yeah, so we'll try the Airbnb. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so it's like a tiny home. What is it?
Yeah, so again, learn through the process. I've learned pretty quickly with tiny homes in Charlotte, there were zero. And if there were any that existed, they were financed with cash. So the issue was I started sending my plans in, and I wanted to build a tiny home for Charlotte, like a tree house really high up or something really cool. Yeah. And learned pretty quickly that there were no financing options for me on the back end. I couldn't get a traditional mortgage on it because there were no comps. Right. There were no other tiny houses in Charlotte. They could say, oh, well, it's worth this, right? Right. So my lender basically said, hey, unless you can find comps, we're not going to be able to give you a loan on the back end for the mortgage on it. So you're going to need to up it to at least 800 square feet, which at that point is just kind of like a small home. Right. So I didn't want to get close. I made it 1,000 square feet. So it's 3 bed, 2 bath, 2.5 bath, 1,000 square feet. So it's just a small house, but I mean, it's sick. It's all black, got some wood accents.
That's dope.
I did some crazy like Love Island stuff inside. I mean, it's really, really cool looking.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that, man. Yeah. A lot of people, what they're doing, and something that I was going to do with this house that I listed. Originally, I bought it to turn it into an Airbnb. Yep. And I was going to add an ADU because it's zoned for an ADU. So an ADU can be a tiny home. Yep. So it was going to be rental income from the main house plus the ADU. we're going to add a pickleball court.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
There's no pickleball court houses in Charlotte,
Yep.
but pickleball is blowing up.
Huge.
I love it personally.
Yeah.
So we were going to add all of that, but then, I made the newbie mistake in that I didn't get a lender. I didn't use other people's money. I put a lot of my own money from my other businesses and I poured in there. I'm like, dude, I need my money. I need my money back. So we finished it. We added a bunch of different things just to make it market ready. And now we have it up for sale. Originally, I was trying to find like a partner that would basically cash me out, get my money back out. And then I'll still Airbnb it. We'll still do the pickleball court stuff. And because it would blow up. It'll do literally, it would do anywhere between $4,000 to $7,000 a month in rentals. That's not even including just if we have the pickleball court, the rental for the pickleball court, because a lot of people want their private, little thing outside. But anyways, that's how we navigated that part. So, dude, I'm super interested because now what I want, I met this guy a year ago in a mastermind in Cabo, and he's a developer in Hickory.
Okay.
And he's done now up until this point about 80 homes, but he does duplexes.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he does duplexes, but he builds them and holds them and rents them out.
Yep.
So he refinances them, get his whatever money out. And at that point for him, I think he's probably making anywhere between 20 to 30 grand, nothing much on it. And he just rents them out. He's making cash flow, whatever, like $250, $500, whatever it might be. But he's building, it's a longer term game. Yeah. But what I wanted to do was something similar to that model, similar to what you're saying. Actually, it's a combination of both of yours in essence. I wanted to bring something to the table where it's like more modern looking duplexes or quadplexes. Yep. And then Airbnb them because the higher cash flow.
Yeah,
it's already it's I already have my system. I just plug in new properties into my system, my management, and all these things, and then refinance them and take my money back out, and then continue to reinvest it back in. What are your thoughts on that?
My biggest thing.
This episode is brought to you by our partners at Wealthy Creator, the go-to experts for entrepreneurs looking to elevate their personal brand and unlock new income streams. With their proprietary Pineda method, you'll get a tailored blueprint. You'll master content production and discover monetization secrets that work. Don't just work hard, work smart, and let Wealthy Creator guide you to your next level of success. Visit the link in the description below to learn more and start transforming your personal brand today. Now back to the episode.
And again, you're coming from more rentals, so it's cool because we can get the back and forth. But for me, the hardest part for me is, okay, I got this new build. It's done. I see what I could rent it for. I see what it could Airbnb for, right? But then I see, or you could take this $100,000, $150,000 right now today, cash, and then I can take that and go do more or do other things.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing for me because I'm like, yeah, I'll go and take the money. Because for me, again, I know with $100,000, right?
Yeah.
I could turn that or flip that into triple, quadruple versus, yes, having it will make money. It is a longer term play.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I see it as, that's $300 a month coming in versus $150 right now that I can go do 100%. Everywhere.
I think there's a balance there.
Exactly.
Right? You can have a balance. At the end of the day, when you keep it and you rent it out, you're building your empire, legacy.
Exactly.
Right? Like imagine if you kept all those 50 and then you cashed out, refinance, right?
Get
like
your money out at least.
You get your money out and then maybe you didn't make 100 or 150. I don't know how much you would make if you cashed out refinance. I'm sure it's going to be similar.
You could get whatever you want really because
right.
I'm building it. I'm building it at cost.
So if you build it, say you build it, let's say it's worth $350,000. I think a bank would still let you take out maybe 75%.
Yeah, I got some guys that will go to 80, but
80, right? So you still make money on the front end, but now you also have a rental property.
And that's exactly what I do with the Charlotte house. Again.
Oh, there we go.
Because once I know when I post this video, it's going to get a lot of traction as well because I've never seen where someone builds an Airbnb, like it's themselves that built it. And then when people see this cost, I think it's going to blow people's mind because all into this thing. I said it's 1,000 square feet. I'm all into the build, like $100,000.
Yeah.
And where can you get an Airbnb for $100,000?
That's including land and everything?
No, the land was like an additional 30.
Okay.
But again, so I pulled out 150 on the loan just to get, again, cashed out. And I took 20,000 in account just so if anything goes wrong, I can work.
So how do you normally do this? You basically get a construction loan? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So for how I finance things is, again, kind of what you learned. I learned too because I used to put all my personal money. Like, I'm not using loans. I'm not using interest. I put my own money into it, and then I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Because now I can do one property with my personal cash, or I can use everyone else's money, and I only got 5 going.
Right.
So I learned that quick. But for me, I always get loans. So usually how I do things is I will pay for the land value, the land cost in cash.
Okay.
Because my lender wants my skin in the game, right? They want to make sure I'm involved.
Yeah.
So again, it could be credit cards, it could be family, it could be investors, whatever. But I buy the land in cash, and then I get a construction loan for the build. So I use a hard money loan. It's interest only loan, and again, I'm in and out of these things in 3-4 months. So
and they finance all of it.
So yeah, there's a couple companies that will do 75%, 80%, and then there's one that will do 100%. Again, the terms are a little different,
right?
At rates and whatnot. But yeah, they'll fund the build, and then like I said, 3-4 months in, I either sell it or like I said, for the Airbnb, I'll refinance. But I'm in and out.
That's awesome.
And I'm really not paying much interest because we're moving.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So, because you did. I'm sure that small one you did it in a month and a half, 2 months.
So the problem is Mecklenburg County, the great state of Mecklenburg County, right? But yeah, so
the permitting
where I'm at now, like Cabarrus County, again, it's kind of like, it's funny. It's like if you go to Cabarrus County and bring my name up, it's like, oh yeah, Hunter, yeah, permits approved, right?
Okay.
But I came into Mecklenburg County, like, who is this guy? No one knows who this is, right? Again, so it's important to obviously it's all you know. Name. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came to Mecklenburg. I was expecting it to be a crazy easy process, and just got beat down with failed inspections, and because it's totally different. It was every county you go to is a little bit different, but here was just a different beast.
Yeah.
So it took me like 6-7 months on the build, which still is not bad, but for as small as it is. Oh no, the house would be sitting there for like months at a time, and I waited for like water and sewer hookups for like 16 weeks.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because you have to deal with all of that stuff.
Crazy. Whereas like I'm used to paying and it's done in a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which things I didn't know, but
right. You live and you learn. Now, are you planning to merge into Charlotte as well now and build more here? Is that something that? Because I mean, there's opportunities obviously, but I'm sure like the closer you get to the center of Charlotte, the more expensive things get.
Oh, crazy! There people are buying teardowns for $400,000, right?
Wild.
But they're going up and building $1 million stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think where I'm at right now is it's kind of like the saying, don't if it's working, don't fix it or whatever it is. But
if it ain't broke, don't
fix
it.
Where I'm at, there's no competition. There's no one. I would go against any other builder, anyone. I wish somebody would come out and do something because it would help me with comps, right? I've had to build my own.
Yeah. So your old builds are your own comps for your new.
I had to like when I first started the hardest part, but the very first modern. When I say modern too, it's like it's a regular house, but the features are modern. Yeah, but I pitched the roofs different or whatever it may be. I had to create comps because there was nothing that looked like what I wanted to do. What I saw in my head that I wanted to create, there didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I said, well, again, I'm going to do it regardless, and we'll see what happens, type of thing. So yeah, I've now been doing the past couple of years. I've created all these comps. So now it's funny when I see the appraisal reports come back and it's my comps, or even other people like other realtors will message me like, hey, like this just came in our appraisal. You build this, and I'm like, yeah, that was me. So it's funny to see. But
how many different plans have you used, or do you usually like once you find one, you kind of like put that one, you reuse it?
Two, like I brought up earlier, that I can't stand when builders build the same house on every corner. So for me, North Carolina is great because in North Carolina, you can actually you don't need an engineer stamp on your plans. Mecklenburg County, of course, you do. But anywhere else in North Carolina, you don't have to have an engineer stamp. So I could literally buy plans. I use like architecturaldesigns.com is a big one I use.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like a Amazon for architects. They design all these plans and put them on this one site. And you can go on there as a consumer and pick plans.
How much does that usually cost?
Yeah, so each one, again, there's always sales and discounts, but anywhere from $800 to $1,500.
Oh wow! Okay.
So I just include that into my costs and say, I'm going to build a new house, every time. So there's been occasions where I buy a lot and I'll subdivide it and it's good for 2 or 3 at a time, and I'll pop the same one in a row. Okay. But usually, if I do that, I'm done with it. So I've got like this stockpile of plans that I have, and people all the time too message me and ask me for plans. And I'm like. They like offer me to pay for it and stuff. I'm like, I'm not using it. Have it, buddy. Like, just send me your email. Yeah,
there you go.
But so I'll build it a couple times, then I'll retire it, and then now I've got like stockpile. So if there's like an awkward lot or something that needs to fit, I've got all these different plans that I can make work. So try to switch it up.
That's cool, man. Same one. I love it, bro. When it comes to now, I guess switching over to the love side. You're in the Love and Cashflow podcast.
It. Yeah.
All these things that you're doing is obviously to have a nice lifestyle, be able to maybe do the things that you didn't have the opportunity to do when you were growing up, or whatever it might be that drives you. What is it that drives you nowadays? Is it, like family? Where you're at with that front?
Yeah. I don't know. We're going to be talking about love and getting deep together. We'll get involved.
We'll let it flow.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's tough. I think starting out, my biggest thing was anti-establishment, like what the world said was the correct way, right? Go to school, get a job, retire, get married. Like it was so much like if someone told me I had to do something, it was like I had to do the opposite, which is in my brain, like wired like that.
Right.
so now again, I'm getting to a point where I think another thing that separates me from a lot of people is I've given up my entire 20s to build this, right? Like I don't drink, I don't party. You're not going to catch me in the club.
Yeah.
I work, go home, chill, do some more work. Like that's what I do. I love traveling.
Yeah.
I've got some friends that they were actually wholesalers at one point, brought them in. I guess I kind of taught them that they wanted to learn. They're like the first people that ever actually took my advice and did it. And now they're doing their own thing too. So we'll partner, do stuff. But, whenever we sell a house together, we always book a cruise. So we literally just got back, about a week ago. So that's kind of our thing. We sell a house together, or we're going on vacation. That's what we do.
That's awesome.
So I love traveling. But back to like my drive, I thought for the longest it was I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to prove everybody wrong, or anyone that told me you have to do this, or you have to go
this route.
Right. It was just I had to be anti that. So that was like my driving force. Well, I'm going to show you. Like you told me I can't build this house. Watch me. I'm going to get my license. I'm going to do this type of thing.
Yeah.
So again, what separates me is I've given up my entire 20s. I don't do the whole traditional, I guess, single young bachelor guy type of thing.
Right.
But it's hard. Like when it comes to relationships, it's been hard because I am someone that is very work oriented and success oriented. So it's hard to have a conversation with someone maybe who doesn't have that, or
that doesn't buy into that vision,
or and again, I've seen too is like, I'm not saying everyone's like this obviously, but there's been girls that I've taken out, and again, they see what I have now. They see the houses, they see the cars. They don't realize that's not who I am. That's what I've got now. But like you weren't there when I was
you weren't shooting with me in the gym,
right? Yeah. Exactly. You weren't there when I had, I was overdrafting my account trying to pay for stuff.
Right.
So it's just different. It makes it hard. And so I don't know, when it comes to the love thing, what drives me now, again, I'm just trying to be, I think I'm genuinely with myself. I'm trying to be the best at something. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I've grown into this construction, the new builds. And to that point too, is like, I genuinely have a passion for the product I make and the houses I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes me stand out because there are a lot of people that build, there are a lot of people that flip, a lot of people that Airbnb, and they're in it for the money, right? They're in it for the likes, the Instagram stuff, the social media. I don't care about that stuff. Like this stuff all just happened, like I said, really, really quickly and organically. And it's crazy what people do change up when they see that number, how many followers you have. Right. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
I started getting all these fake accounts of me, and I'm like,
that's wild,
I don't know what Bitcoin even is, y'all. Don't do that, right?
Don't do that, please. No,
my drive always was I wanted to be the guy, again, like the James Bond or whatever, who had the cool cars and the money, and I could do whatever. But at the end of it, it really was just because, kind of the point you said, I want to be the guy who can take away people's problems. And again, in the world we live in, money does that a lot of times.
Things,
you can help a lot of people with money. And so for me, it was, I wanted to be the person that if you needed help or you needed money, you couldn't do this, like, don't worry about it, I got you. And I'm not looking for payback. I don't want anything, but I wanted to be that guy that could help, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to a family, I wanted to be the guy that, when I do find the one, right?
Yeah.
If they want to work or they want to be at home with the kids or whatever they want to do, they want to open up a passion. Like there's no limits, right? Mm-hmm. We get one life here. We get one chance at this.
Yeah.
I want to live it, all of it. I want to do everything, experience it all. So I think I've just been working hard and grinding. Mm-hmm. So when the right person comes along, I'm ready for a family, or I'm ready to settle down and do all those things. So
yeah. No, dude, I mean, I'm only a couple years older than you. I'm 35 now. And, I could resonate with a lot with what you're saying. Before having kids and even before getting married, I wouldn't say I was successful when we got married, but my wife and I, we built this business when we moved to Charlotte from Miami. We met in Miami. My wife has always lived in Miami. And we moved over here at the end of 2018. And that's because we wanted to build a family. We just didn't feel like building a family in Miami. Not that you can't. It's just like we wanted a more wholesome
different.
environment.
It's different.
It's definitely different, right? I'm sure you've vacationed in
Miami. It's different.
So it's definitely different. So we moved out here and we grinded. It's like a whole year of like, okay, we're going to get one Airbnb per month, for this year. And then that's what happened in 2019. We got one Airbnb. We finished the year with 12.
Sick.
And then it's like, okay, I want to give my wife that option to be able to not work. Yep. And, if she wants to work, hey, by all means, do it. I want you to feel purpose and fulfilled and all these different things. But have that option of not having to. And you can only do that if the finances are coming in somewhere else. So I can resonate with what you're saying on that front. But I also wanted to build a family too. Like I wanted to have kids and all of that. Now we have 2 kids as well, right? So we have a 2 and a 3-year-old. So I feel like it's crazy because I see a lot of myself in you just a few years back, not even that far back.
Which is different because usually I'm the other shoes. Like, was like my brother or his friends are a little younger. It's like, I'm seeing them kind of like go through different stages where it's like, I was just there. Like, I know I can kind of help or whatever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, so I could totally see it, man. You're the fact that you want to be the provider in your family as a man, that's huge. I think that's our responsibility at the end of the day. But I also feel for you in that, it's harder out there when you're dating and you've already made it, like you're already successful, right? Quote unquote. Like there's so many things that you could still do and grow in and all these things. And there's I'm sure other people that are way more successful than you in your field, but you've already in the common, like you're good. You're good. Like you could stay where you're at and you still be good.
Yep.
And obviously, you have to juggle that aspect now of like, okay, this is a good-looking dude, has the car, has the house, single. Now, do you have to kind of factor in, okay, is this person in it for all of these things or whether the long haul? So I feel for you in that area, and also with all the craziness that's happening in this world with you don't know who's who, right?
Oh,
like
you don't know what aspect. Yeah.
It's like so many. I tell my single friends all the time, like, man, I feel for you guys because it's a lot harder than it was back when I started. My relationship with my wife, it's just a lot harder. The single life. So, but your aspiration though, you would want to eventually get married, have kids, and all of that. That's still something that's in the plans.
Yeah, I think too with me is I can get like a deep thinker sometimes, but it's like, as I'm getting older, if you will, it's weird to say that, but as I'm getting older, the things that I look for have changed, right? Mm-hmm. I've started to think about, okay, I guess dating with intention or dating with purpose is like, I think with the personality I have, just who I am, I could get along with anyone. And I've been in relationships in the past where I've made it work just because I'm who I am. I can get along. I can ignore red flags. I can
make it work.
Right. And at the end of the day, it ends up hurting myself, and then I end up hurting that person just because I dragged it out when I should have probably let it go at the beginning, right?
Right.
So with me, things that have changed is again, when I go on a date or, not the first date, obviously, but as we're getting to know someone is, could I see this person being the mother of my children? Could I see this person, being my best friend and doing life with?
Yeah.
And for the longest, it was, I would tell myself, I don't know if I'm going to do the kid thing. I don't know. But I think it was genuinely, I didn't find the right person that made me think those things, right? It was, I'm going to work. I'll get the money. I'll get the house. And then I'll start looking for a wife, or I'll start looking for the right girl. And then I think what kind of changed, I think my mom said something. She was like, could you see, it was one I was telling her about someone. She was like, oh, do you think like you could see having a family with them? And it kind of clicked. And I was like, well, no, I never thought of that. But I mean, I am getting older. Maybe I should probably start thinking, more than what they look like, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing for me is finding someone that can understand, I guess, where I want to go, and also understanding that I'm right now where I'm at. I can't be the guy that's going to be on FaceTime 24/7 or texting back really quickly or being on the phone. I just can't. And with business too, I can't make myself accessible to everyone, right?
Right.
With the social media stuff, I get comments all the time, people that want to meet or want the courses, or can we jump on a quick call? Or again, I've got a lot of stuff to do podcasts. This is the first one I've done, right?
Yeah.
I just usually, I usually just don't, I can't make myself available because I can't do what I need to do.
Yeah, your time is more valuable now.
Right.
And it's going to continue to get more valuable, which is why something that to backtrack on what you said is like not bringing it up on the first date. No, you have to bring it up in the first date. You have to kind of like set the tone from the beginning, and it's not to be, douche or anything like that, but you want to respect their time and you want to respect yours.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is good, I think, like, hey, this is where I'm going. First of all, as men, obviously, we have to have that physical attraction.
Of course.
I think that wouldn't even happen. That date wouldn't even happen if that wasn't there. Yeah. So that's checked off, right, usually. But then the real things that matter has to be talked about in that table.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean that you have to just go for the jugular and get that conversation going. But it's like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I'm 31. I don't foresee myself getting married like tomorrow or anything like that. But that is something that I want to do. And I want to know like where you're at with that. Is that something like it's okay to bring it up? I feel like in the position that you're in, especially now, you need to be able to weed out whatever's not right for you. And you have to cast your vision and see if they buy into that vision. Like if I was to date, like if I was in your shoes, I was single, and I had go on a date, and I would have these conversations and be like, this is what I'm trying to build. This is what I feel like would help me in a spouse. Like my dream spouse would, support me in the vision that we're doing, be able to, motivate me in the times that I'm feeling down. Of course, I want to be able to provide her, make her feel like a queen, all these different things. But the reality is that I'm young and I have this drive and I want to be super successful and I want to set our family, our legacy up for success for years to come. And I'm young and I have the energy to do it. I just need to be able to have someone I can do it with. Yeah. Right? Because the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone for that reason. And at the end of the day, if you find a good wife, you find a good thing. Right? So I sit here from a perspective of, and not to brag, but my wife is like, bro, like the model wife in that she shot with me in the gym. Like she was cleaning toilets with me. And that's not something that you'll have the, I guess, luxury of having, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't exist. And I can buy into that aspect of things. So I feel like you should be upfront in these first dates. And then don't go on the second date if that doesn't line up. And it doesn't have to be 100%. It could be a process for them to kind of see it and all these different things.
And I think my issue, and again, I can see it. I'll tell it how it is. Like, I want to be the guy that like does the like super public like stuff, but also it's like, I want to pull up on you with the nice
affection
car.
You mean?
Yeah, the affection too, but just like I want to pull up on the nice car and like, oh, I'm taking you on a date. Like, I don't want to tell you when I'm coming. It's like, oh, I'm here, and it's like you get in, it's a cool car, right?
Yeah.
We're going to a fancy restaurant, right? But it's like those conversations that you're talking about. My issue is when I bring those things up, of course they're going to give me, because they now see what their life could be necessarily with me, right? They see the stuff, and the conversations start to come up, and it's like, well, of course, I'll be there. Of course, I'll do. Of course, you're going to tell me everything I want to hear, right?
Right.
So that's weeding out that now, and
discerning whether it's genuine.
And also, I've got to learn to take a step back and be like, okay, you can't show all your cards, if you will. You can't do that, because obviously it is going to bring up a different factor into, you want to really learn about this person, then let's see what they are, who they really are, right?
Right.
And then you can, by the way,
navigate
it somewhat of a successful, entrepreneur or whatever that may look like. But
yeah.
With
that is like, you do definitely have to be selective in the things that you say and bring up, because it's like, okay, that's what my life could be like if I say, okay, I'll buy into this, but midway through it, and it's like, no, this is not what I wanted to do. So there is the element of discerning, that genuineness, and so I get it why you wouldn't necessarily bring up all of those things at once, but you kind of have to throw the fish in the line and create your own ways of, what's it called? I guess the red flags and paying attention to the red flags and all of that. So that's why I say it's difficult to date as it is. I feel like it's hard, even more hard when you're a successful young man that, out there as well. When all women want is feel security, provided for, all these things. And if you are the man that could already do that off the bat, they're going to submit to whatever, at least for the time being.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, it's really like, I don't know if you're religious or anything, but, for me, I'm Christian. And as a Christian, it becomes a little bit easier in that at least we can reference back to the Bible and see what it says about certain things in the relationship and what roles are there. If you're a freaking atheist and you're dating a Christian, it's like we're off already. Yeah. You can technically make it work, but what are you basing yourself off of at the end of the day? So, I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole, and I feel like we'll definitely catch up on all of that as well, definitely. Man. But, before we finish up here, man, how can people connect with you? Like, what's your actual Instagram? Do you have a YouTube channel yet?
That's another. I've gotten those as well.
You got to get some YouTube channels.
Longer form. And yeah.
You could do the long form and then you get them cut up into the small form.
My biggest thing is with any form of content, and again, you do content and podcast too, is like finding the time, because I'm still actually doing the building. Like that's actually what I do.
Right.
It's finding the time to set my camera up on a tripod, edit and film, because that's not what I'm good at, right? Like I just literally just am learning this stuff as I go.
Yeah.
It's getting better at that. And then again, kind of similar to what I said is in the real estate world, like what does what content creator, I guess that's what it's called, right? What does that look like to me? Because again, at first it's like, no, I'm not a content creator. I don't want to do this. I don't care about brand deals. That's not what I want to do. I just want to make cool videos and people like them, cool. But it's taking time and sitting down and say, okay, what do I really want to do with this? What does it look like for me?
Do you enjoy doing content though? At this point now, like maybe you started not really caring for it, but has it grown on you in any way?
Yeah. So at first I hated social media. I was never on it, never posted it, didn't care, whatever. Yeah. And again, I think partially was with relationships as well. It's because you see people that post the highlight reel of their relationship, and then low key I'm like, but I just saw y'all fighting at Target like 10 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all facade, right? But Yeah, my relationship I keep super private just because
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want it to be us, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Friends, relationship.
But you enjoy content now?
Yeah, with the content now, I enjoy making it, and I find myself watching more content that like other people that are similar in the real estate or whatever, just
to know how to get better.
Yeah, see cool ideas and cool videos, and I do like it. And just seeing the comment, the most thing that I enjoy the most is that when people comment and they're like, oh, like this is cool, or even if they ask me like a question on building or where'd you get this, and I can like respond and oh, thanks, you just saved me thousands of dollars. I'm like, oh, sick, like that's cool. So it is the connecting with people that I enjoy doing. I do like commenting back, even at the haters. It's fun just to put anything back. But I'm starting to like it. So we'll
I feel like for you, dude, I guess I'll just cast this vision for you, and then you can run with it or not. But reality is that you do have to put out something that's worthwhile, like selling. Yep. It could be a small amount, and then use that money to increase your production value. It could be to hire somebody who just follows you around, and then they cut it up and then they edit it or whatever that might be. Or it could be, whatever you sell from the content or from like the education side or whatever, you pour it into a podcast or be able to do more things like that. And at the end of the day, you're pouring it right back into it. So you're charging for something, but you're giving better quality,
true.
Quality content, with the nice edits and, the YouTube videos now, the long form, and because all of that costs money.
Yep.
And unless you have a crazy passion for it to where you're willing to bankroll that yourself off of your business, you're going to want to monetize it in some way so that it can continue on its own, and then make money off of it too. Because you're like, okay, I want to show up more. I want to give this perspective now instead of this. And it's not a chore because you're making money off of it. You're giving value. It's like a win-win-win for everybody. So I think I'm sure that paradigm shift already happened in your mind where like, okay, no, I should charge because it's going to help everybody. Yeah. The consumer, whoever buys it, it's going to help me to show up every day and give quality stuff. And then now you probably give somebody some work that otherwise wouldn't have work. Yeah. So it's a win-win for everybody. The editing, that's what kills me. Showing up. Yeah, because editing is like the number one thing that I tell people not to do. Like I don't edit any of my stuff. I used to, but it's tedious. It's time consuming. It's like, and then you want like the little minute things. The
music has to hit right when the beat drops.
Exactly. It's so hard. So might as well just outsource all of that crap and then just focus on doing your thing. And then you could still jump in the comments if that's what you like and respond, and it actually be you and not freaking ManyChat or a bot or something if that's what you enjoy. So it's creating that same lifestyle that you've been able to create with the construction stuff. Is like, okay, how do I take the good things out of this content stuff that you actually enjoy doing and create a life around it, and then you outsource everything else that's not conducive to that. But it'll obviously blow you up. And I think another like side of it is as you're growing in social media, is that now you get a liking for people who have money and they want a private money lent to you.
Yeah, I've gotten DMs like that as well.
There you go. So the more your profile grows as far as an entrepreneur in this business, not only are you going to get more education clients that want to do the same thing as you, but other people that want to build with you or whatever it might be. People that I guarantee you, people that see this podcast are going to hit you up and they're going to say, hey, let's work together. Oh, hey, when you do put out that course, send him to me because I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's sick. And I think the biggest thing I've learned through the whole social media is just, again, this is just me talking. I genuinely believe you will not blow up. You won't get that viral thing unless you're being 100% authentic.
Yeah.
There's been times where I thought, and again, my brother's he makes music. So he's big into the social media scene as well. But there's been times where I've seen people where they're like, oh, this is going to be a viral video. I'm going to post it. Nothing happens. But it's like that you're not being genuinely yourself. You need to be yourself because the world we live in, you will get called out. We will know if you're faking it, right?
Yeah.
And so to that point, like when I just said, I'm just going to post a little video. Like I saw the case guy do it. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to do it. But my way of doing it is being me. Like I'm goofy, but I'm serious. I know what I'm talking about. But then also too, like I'm going to respond to people that respond because that's what it is. I want to talk to people about construction. It's what I do. And if I can help people, if I can push someone to get started in real estate, then that's what it was worth.
For sure.
So all those things were just do it. Yeah, so I just did it. And like I said, it worked out. And exactly what you just said, the when you have eyes on you, there's so many opportunities out there. No one knows who anybody is. Like you're nobody until you are, right?
Right.
So, I've gotten opportunities where people they want to do TV shows, and I've gotten opportunities where people want to lend or they want to get started. Or they've got deals they want to send me. So it's been crazy. So
wild.
I guess I'd say if anyone's thinking about posting it, just post the video. Who cares?
Sticks, yeah.
If it gets 200 views, what does it matter? There's stuff I post that doesn't get any views. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not the purpose of it. The purpose is do what you're supposed to do, and whoever needs that or needs to see it will hopefully see it.
That's awesome, man. That's great advice. And what? How can they find you on Instagram?
So my Instagram is it's my name. So it's Hunter Church and the number 1. Hunter Church 1.
We're going to get him a YouTube channel too, so you can find him on YouTube somehow.
Yeah.
As soon as we do, we're going to add it in the description so they can find you there.
Perfect.
And then we're going to get you a TikTok too, because you can repurpose that same stuff into TikTok. And you can add it on YouTube Shorts. You can be omnipresent. You have to outsource all of those things into the different platform. Man, thank you so much for coming on, bro.
It's been fun.
I think it was. I mean, I could have gone for hours.
Oh
honestly,
because I feel like we just scratched the surface on what we want to get into.
I'm in the space where I want to do what you're doing, and it's funny because you kind of want to do a little bit of the Airbnb stuff. So I'm sure that there's synergy here. I'm sure that we'll continue this conversation off camera, but maybe we'll do a follow-up podcast a couple months, a year or two down the road, and see what's developed. Maybe someone watching will. You can find me a wife. There we go. There we go. I got a couple people to introduce you to.
There we go.
Thank you for coming on, my brother.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. There you have it, guys. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow Hunter. Follow myself, Ivan Tejeda. And as always, I'll see you at the top. Let's go.